Hey, good morning, everybody. Matt Nelson with Peachtree Rose Marketing at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Podcast studio at VentureX San Antonio Northwest, the co-working space located off of I-10 and 410 in San Antonio, Texas. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Jim Garrett, franchise owner here at VentureX, the co-working space. And he's going to speak to us a little bit about co-working and kind of the culture that he's created over the past year plus here at VentureX.
Thank you, Matt. It's great to be here today.
Thanks for joining me, Jim. So I did get some questions from the field, some fellow members of VentureX who are interested in knowing a little bit more about kind of how this got started. I'm fortunate enough to know a little bit of your background, but for those who don't know Jim Garrett, if you could tell me a little bit about yourself first.
Okay. I've been very fortunate to do a large number of things, and this is always the hardest question because I have been a stockbroker. I have been a naval aviator. I flew jets for the Navy off of aircraft carriers in combat. I have been in the intelligence arena, so I've been deputy director of a top secret think tank. I have worked in the intelligence arena at very high levels. Was on the joint staff for a while. I have had a succession of different businesses and that type of thing. So IT business, I've had a advertising business. I had a auto race sanctioning body, put on races all over North America, had a TV show for 3 years, and raced professionally for a number of years. And now I have a co-working site here in San Antonio, VentureX.
Nice. So let's unpack that a little bit. We'll get into kind of the origin story. So of all the things, like so many things that you've done,
Right.
You could have gone a bunch of different directions in terms of investments or opportunities. Why co-working? What prompted you to open a co-working space, and why San Antonio?
Great question. So, again, I've had the opportunity to sort of live all over the country. I've been all over the world. I've had a chance to do a number of different types of businesses. And now, as I've had all of these experiences, I wanted to be in a place where I had an opportunity to give back, to offer more to the members that we have here, and to give back to my city. So I'm originally from San Antonio. I'm a San Antonio native. Went to John Jay High School and then did my undergraduate degree at Trinity University. So having an opportunity to get back to San Antonio with family and friends and all of the culture that helped define me was really, really important to me. So wanted to get back here. So San Antonio was at the top of the list. As far as co-working, we wanted to have, as I said, an opportunity to give back. And co-working is this great opportunity that allows anything from an enterprise-sized business, a Fortune 500, if you will, to somebody who's currently working out of their house, a brand new startup, to come and have an opportunity to network, to grow their business in a very cost-effective manner. So I always have, in my businesses, look for places where we could apply leverage, and this seemed like a great place to do it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, as a member, I appreciate it. I know we've personally, as Peachtree Rose Marketing, we've been able to scale our business from that very same model, from dedicated desk to private office, now podcast studios and private offices.
We're very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been very cool to be a part of this community. But one of the things that attracted me first, and what gets a lot of people in the door, is just the look, right? So not just the location where it is, but the look and the aesthetics, the design aesthetics, and kind of what you've built in. Can you talk to me a little bit about what you've got going on here?
Thank you. So a lot of co-working sites look very, there's a lot of plastic, there's a lot of vinyl. They are, they're not necessarily trying to look as contemporary. Our goal was to create a place that would be contemporary so that somebody who came from Silicon Valley would be perfectly happy to walk in here and go, yeah, I feel at home. On the other hand, we wanted to have leathers and actual plants and have different colors and shapes and those types of things so that in our furniture that people could walk in and say, yes, this is a contemporary space, but I can also feel at home. So we spent a lot of time thinking about that, working with and sourcing a lot of different furniture from a lot of different places, and tried to create something that would be unique in San Antonio and hopefully unique in the U.S. So it was something we wanted to give to San Antonio.
Very nice. Yeah, and I agree. It's definitely it's an extension of home. So it's a good place to work from and kind of call home as well. And you can ask my wife, and she'll attest to me being away from home sometimes. I'm at my other home, but yeah. So based on, I know we're still plussing up in terms of our membership, and we've had people who've been here since the beginning.
Right.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the community culture and kind of how you foster that in both the VentureX franchise here and also kind of the SA Cowork community and what you've built around this co-working space?
Sure. So again, one of the things that's really important to us is we didn't just want to have office space. We did want people to feel like they could be a part of a community if that's what they want to do. If they want to come in here and go to their office and grind every day, that's great. We will leave you alone. We're here to help you as you need it and that type of thing. But we did want to have and foster a sense of community, and that was going to be very, very important to me. So you'll see things like the artwork around here is all done by local artists. We have numerous networking events that we do throughout the course of the month. We have numerous events where we just try to give back to our members. And I think one of the things that I'm very pleased with is that hopefully everybody can find me quite accessible. I am right off the main lobby. So my office is always open. I'm always ready to chat with somebody. I'm there to mentor. I'm there to respond to questions. I'm there to take any complaints. I'm there to offer solutions. So hopefully they find myself there. And of course, we have a great staff who Audrey's been with me for, about a year and a half now. So our goal is to make it warm and welcoming for everybody that walks through the door.
That was definitely my experience. You mentioned Audrey. I can remember touring when there was brown paper everywhere and people drilling, and it was still under construction. And Audrey was right there, kind of sharing with me the vision, and you could tell she had the vision already as well, which is kind of hard to come by. And she was able to sell me on the vision early on, and then it was really cool watching it come to life.
Well, thank you, because it's very challenging to put out a particular vision and then actually make it come to life the way you're sort of envisioning it. Mm-hmm. And we worked very hard. It took us a long time to do the planning. It took us a long time to get it built the way we wanted. Obviously, we have a very large space, so that just took a long time. So we have about 35,000 square feet and about 147 offices. So it's much larger than a lot of the co-working sites in the U.S., quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. And 147 private offices, a lot of opportunity there. But there's other amenities and other features about this co-working space that are pretty unique beyond just the private offices. Can you kind of talk about some of the amenities unique to this space?
Sure. Well, we recognized early on that we're going to be in San Antonio, and there's a lot of military, there's a lot of government contractors, and those type of things. So one of the things that we wanted to add in was, of course, a lot of security. So we were very concerned about the fact that we wanted to be open 24/7, and in finding the location, there were locations that we just did not want to be because we did not feel as though it gave our members as much security as we wanted.
Sure.
We wanted to have on-site parking that would be free for them. That's right here. So we have an on-site garage. So that was very important for us. And we have on-site security that's here most of the day, and they're happy to walk people out if that's, in fact, what they need. We have the ability to lock down our floors. So after hours, you need your pass key in order to access the floors. Our security continues with once you're entered into the business. Our security system is something called NDAA compliant, so it's National Defense Authorization Act compliant. So hopefully it's not going to be tappable by any of those foreign countries. So we don't have inexpensive cameras that are running around. We have really good systems. In addition, that goes into the security at the door. You have biometric security locks on your actual door. Should you forget something, you can send somebody to your office and you can give them a particular passcode that's good for a half-hour window. They can come in, get your items, shut the door, and not be able to access that again. So And of course, we're fully manned during our office hours 5 days a week. So, and we're also here often for events in the evening. So we're here a lot. I'm really here a lot. So we typically have somebody here from about 6 o'clock till 6 o'clock, oftentimes. From there, we wanted to have really great IT for everybody. So our IT is faster and funnier than a lot of places. You can actually get a full gig of bandwidth if you need that in your office. So we're happy to provide that for you. We have that capability. We're primed to go ahead and grow that if we need to. People can come in. We have extra rack space, so if somebody needs to bring in their own server or they need to bring in their own firewall or something of that nature, we're able to accommodate that. We have the ability to have really great coffee. We grind the beans here for you, so every cup is ground just for you. We keep water on site, so we're not going to charge you to come in and utilize our kitchen or those type of things. I even have M&Ms and Skittles available for you at any time of the day. So about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, where everybody's needing a little bit of a sugar fix or a little bit of an energy boost, you can come in and grab one of those. You'll find amenities in the restrooms as well. So I mean, we've tried to think of those types of things in our conference rooms. We've tried to make those as high-tech as anything that you'll find in San Antonio. So a lot of private businesses don't have the types of things that we have in ours. We have smart boards in all of our conference rooms. So you're able to, instead of just a whiteboard writing on it and having to take a picture of your notes, you can actually download all the information that you put on the whiteboard. We have video conferencing capability. We have beamforming microphones. So there's 26 mics that will actually listen to you all across the room, and the system will actually follow the speaker around the room and that type of thing on the
Very cool.
Video conferencing capability. So we have a lot of amenities. We have talk boxes. We have private places for you to go and be able to talk, even if you're not one of our private office holders and stuff. Or hey, you want to talk to the attorney, the CPA, or the HR. You've got a private place where you can go and do that. So. We're happy to look at those type of things. We have a wellness room, so for new moms, they have a private place to go, and there's a refrigerator in there, so they don't have the misfortune of putting their fresh milk in the communal refrigerator and somebody accidentally putting that in their coffee or something. So
rough day for all. Yeah,
truly. So we could go on and on about the amenities, but I think the thing that is perhaps the best amenity is the other people that we have here. And, we're open to pretty much everybody except people who just aren't nice. So that's probably the best thing, is that the members that we have are invariably just wonderful people. And we have a whole collection of all sorts of, different types of businesses and stuff. So that's great. And then we've had... along with that, we've had members such as yourself who's helped build out the podcast rooms. We have, on-site massage chairs. We have a on-site massage studio. We have on-site estheticians. So this has become really a community and has looked at the overall wellness of people as well. So that's one of the things that we're very, very proud about.
Yeah, it's been really cool to watch the ecosystem kind of evolve just over a pretty short span in just a year. So that's nice. Yeah,
we've been fully open now. March 5th was fully a year for us.
Yeah, so we just hit our anniversary then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I said we accidentally as if it's my co-working space, but you kind of have almost embody the sense of ownership mindset, and that's kind of imparted upon the members, I feel like, which has been nice to see.
That's... one of the things that we wanted to do was hopefully all of my team members feel like this is their Venture X, okay? And with our membership, we really do want them to feel like this is their home away from home. This is their workplace, but that they can feel homey. So hopefully they feel comfortable and enjoy coming to work here. And that's what we're trying to do.
And we have quite the and you mentioned we have quite a mix of different businesses, all shapes and sizes. But memberships, we also have Community Pro members. I know Edward Leos from the Hotel Guide. He's always got his spot. He always sits in out in the community area. He's pretty much known for that as kind of a piece of the community. But can you talk a little bit on the different membership options and kind of how each one of those might best fit a certain type of business or person?
Sure. So, it's important for a business at different stages of their evolution to have options that are still cost-effective and allow them to apply leverage to their business and grow more rapidly. So the big deal, and we've sort of talked about what we do, but if you don't know what co-working is or you're not that familiar with co-working, think of your traditional leased space that you go and you have your office or you build a building or you have a site that you're working out of. And that's a place that you sign a lease. It may take you 6 or 8 months to build out, that type of thing, before you can actually move in. Once you move in, you have to have and paid for space for where your coffee pot goes. You have to have a place for where your printer goes. You have to have the ability to have conference rooms, that a place for some type of community and social interaction, whether it's be it a little cafe. You have to have a receptionist and all of these types of things in addition to your offices. And the place that you're making money out of is the office, not all of those other things. So you're paying for that. And then what happens if you've been very successful and you grow? You don't have the ability to sort of move out. You're locked into that long-term lease. What happens if you, God forbid, lose a contract and now, you've got all these extra chairs and offices that you're still paying for and you're obligated to pay for a number of years. So what we do is, let's say you're working from home and you're saying, I don't want people to really know where I live. That's fraught with peril. I don't want people to come to my place and, God forbid, they slip on my driveway, they slip inside my house. Your homeowner's policy is not going to like it if you're conducting business out of there and now you've had an accident or something happens to somebody else.
Yeah.
So those are just fraught with peril. And of course, these days we enjoy our privacy, and you don't want people to know where you live. That can be very problematic for a whole host of reasons. So the first thing that we offer is a virtual office. So here's your mailing address. It's a professional building. When people try to look you up, the address that they're looking at is this beautiful 14-story building at the intersection of 410 and I-10, kind of the most iconic place in San Antonio. And that's been here for a minute and looks lovely. And so that's what they see as opposed to your home or your apartment or wherever you happen to be living. So that's the first thing that we can give them. From there, and we will receive your mail, we'll receive your packages. So again, you don't have to be at home when you're receiving packages. We sign for those things for you and we hold them for you, and you can come and pick those up. In addition to that, you're able to come in during the course of the month and you have a day pass. So if you need just a particular day, you can come in and work in our office and in one of the co-working sites. We'll talk about that in a minute. Or use one of our day offices. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, and it also gives you the fact that now you can get those membership discounts for the additional day passes or for utilizing the conference room and all of those types of things as well. So that's sort of our first entry point. The next step up would be what we call our community membership. And community membership, that allows you to come in, you can utilize any of the open space that you find, and it's pretty much on a first-come, first-served basis. However, what you'll find is that we have a lot of seats and a lot of space, and people are coming and going constantly. People have meetings, they have networking opportunities that they want to go to, they have lunch that they want to go, whatever it might be. There's typically plenty of seating around, so you can find a place to work and work in private throughout the day. So that's our community. We have a Community Pro, which also allows you 24/7 access to the building. So, and then you have access to our parking garage, and we have an on-site gym, so you have access to those. So it's just more amenities and those types of things for you. But again, that gives you the opportunity to come in, work wherever you want, but it's at a very, very cost-effective price point, and almost everybody can afford that.
Yeah.
The next step up would be one of our dedicated desks. So think of your dedicated desk as this is my actual office. However, you don't have walls. So there's a place that we have where you have your desk. You can bring your monitor. You'll have a lockable filing cabinet, so you can leave your equipment there. And of course, we have the security. So people leave their monitors, they leave books, they leave their materials that they utilize in their business on their desk because that's their office. And that's fine. You can access that, again, 24/7. The next step up would be we have a shared office situation. So you can have multiple businesses, but they can be in the same office. And again, this is just another price point up, but there's not people potentially walking by you or anything like that because you are in an office.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have actual offices. And again, we have everybody from a brand new businesses to we have a NYSE listed firm here in the space as well. So we're very happy for that. And you're finding more and more of those types of businesses are looking for things like us to grow. So that's sort of the different types of things. And I'm sorry for taking so long, but we have a lot of different options.
It's a lot to unpack. Yeah, it's a lot of options.
Yeah.
And we've effectively utilized pretty much all of them, I think, in some form or fashion, as we've kind of scaled up and down and back up, which is kind of the beauty of flexed office space.
Yes, exactly. Right? And that's the key. Instead of being locked into that long-term contract, the deal here is that, hey, your business is going to grow. It might have a contraction period or something like that, but hopefully it grows more and more and more. And hey, you're in a dedicated desk and you move to an office, and then it's like, hey, I don't need a one-person office. I need a four-person office. We move you across the hallway and away you go. Yeah. So we try to make it easy for you. That's the whole goal.
Very cool. Yeah. And it's been working for us at least, and I know we have a lot of other success stories too, which we'll definitely get into.
Okay.
But I know you mentioned Community Pro membership and networking. Can you talk about? I know you mentioned events. Whether or not you're just looking for a private office and you want to kind of sequester yourself and just get your work done, or you want to be a part of bigger networking events. There's a lot of events. I think this week alone we had, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 or 5 large networking events or events in the space.
Yes.
So 500 plus people coming in, right?
in the course of 1 week. That's correct. We had the Hispanic Chamber was here. We had a ribbon cutting for one of our members, and that was a different chamber that was in here that evening. And there was 100 plus people that were here for that. We have our own networking event. So we have something that we call the Last Thursdays event because apparently I can't name things very well. So the last Thursday of the month, we have our own networking event. I buy you breakfast and you can network, and we'll bring in a speaker and hopefully give you a little bit of added value and stuff as well. And then those people that come can then work throughout the day and stuff as well. So we had that. We had another organization that holds networking events here had another event here. And so we had 2 of those going on simultaneously one day. So yes, we've been busy. And then, of course, we have all sorts of private events that we hold here and stuff as well. So people will come in and we've held church services. We've held retirement parties. We've held Sweet 16s. We've held birthday parties. We had one marriage proposal here, and she said yes. So we're very happy about that.
And they're still together, I believe.
And they're still together, yes. So
even better.
So there's just about and numerous sit-down dinners and things like that. So we're really happy to see how people want to utilize our space. And the nice thing is that when you walk into a space, as you sort of mentioned, it looks different than a lot of other spaces. And of course, we have these great views of downtown San Antonio. So from our lobby, we have 14-mile unobstructed views. And you can, those unobstructed views go all the way around the building. Yeah. So on one side, you get to see the downtown San Antonio. On another side, you can see the beautiful hill country. And on another side, you can see the airport. And on the other side is the medical center. So 14 miles from our 8th floor. And then we have the penthouse of the building as well. So we own that entire floor. And from there, you have 18-mile unobstructed views. Yeah. So it's even better.
Breathtaking views for
Thank
sure.
You.
I love sunsets and sunrises in the space.
It's great. And we're going to have a we'll have an eclipse watch party here in a week or so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I know we talked about different members, different membership styles. In particular, startups and small businesses, and that's passion for me, obviously, because that's kind of our target market in terms of our marketing. We are one technically, kind of, right?
Sure.
So what kind of support does VentureX offer to startups and small businesses in terms of kind of scaling their business along the way?
Yeah, and we've sort of alluded to a lot of that. I think one of the first things is, hey, here you have a professional address, you have professional space for you to operate out of. The other thing is that now, let's say you're going to hold a meeting and you want a conference room to do that. Well, now you have a professional conference room and you have all of that technology that you can leverage and stuff that you don't have to go out and purchase yourself. Yeah. You don't have to purchase televisions. You don't have to purchase smart boards or those type of things. You don't have to have all of the additional Wi-Fi. You're not paying 50 different payments to a lot of different vendors. You don't have to have a Wi-Fi vendor. You don't have to have a water vendor. You don't have to have a cleaning service. You don't have to pay for your electricity. All of those things are all included. So it's sort of a one-stop, but you have all of that, but the only thing that you're really paying for is your actual office space and stuff. So it becomes incredibly cost-effective for you to do that, and you know what your invoice is going to be every month. So it's not like you're, hey, I used a lot of electricity this month, or I used a lot of bandwidth this month, or whatever it might be. It's like, hey, this is my bill every month. So you can plan for that. So you can forecast that for the next year or the next 2 years. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we made very certain when we were branding ourselves that we were very judicious with our own logo and our own brand. So we see VentureX when you first walk in, and it's on our doors. And so we're very happy to say, hey, welcome to VentureX. But once you're in here, it's your space. So consequently, you can put your logo on your space. So if you're looking at something like Google My Business and those types of services, they look at it like it is, in fact, your space, because it is your space. You've branded it as your space. Furthermore, when you come into one of our conference rooms and you're having a video conference or something like that, there's not a great big huge Venture logo on there, VentureX logo on it and stuff. It's lovely. There's artwork in there that's appropriate for that particular space. On our missions room, we have beautiful photos of the mission. Our river walk room, we have beautiful photos of the river. The botanical garden room, we have the botanical garden. So those are the types of things you see. So it has been white labeled for you so that you can brand that conference room as you. So you can look much larger than you are. And of course, people have impromptu meetings here all of the time, and it's a lot more secure than going to a Starbucks and those types of things. So, and of course, they just have access to all of the amenities, which they otherwise might not have, or they'd spend a lot of money trying to do. So let us go ahead and find those high-tech and lovely amenities for you. We'll put them in. And, hey, if you've got some suggestions, we're happy to take those on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know you already spoke about some of the tech, in terms of the cameras, the vibe boards, but can you share with me a little bit about how this VentureX location in particular is kind of at the forefront of technology and kind of your plans on staying there?
Sure. So there's a standard package that, VentureX is a franchise. So there's a standard package. And when we looked at that and said, hey, this is a great high-end package and looks lovely, let's go ahead and just use that as our starting board and just take everything else to the max. So that's kind of what we did. Again, because we wanted to have the most high-tech place in San Antonio that's a co-working or flexible lease space. So, and make it available and functional for as many businesses as we could. Yeah. So I said, what could somebody potentially want? Let's do that. Let's do that now. Let's go ahead and build in the ability to grow from that and add additional technologies as that comes about. With the advent of AI in the last couple of years, we're going to have a lot more bandwidth as people are going to be utilizing. I predict in 5 years, we'll have upgraded all of the types of Wi-Fi and servers, firewalls. I just plan on going ahead and doing that type of thing. We're looking at doing another 4 or 5 VentureXs here in San Antonio, as well as the surrounding South Texas area. So again, we love this area. This is home for us. So we'll look at the San Marcos, Waco, College Station area, potentially down into Houston and stuff as well. Austin is lovely. I've lived in Austin for a number of years previously and stuff, but of course, their office space was not quite as amenable because my name wasn't Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, and they literally would tell me things when I was looking at office space. No, we want to save this space for Amazon or for Tesla or one of those guys. I'm like, good luck with that. In the meantime, I'll be down in San Antonio, and San Antonio welcomed me back with open arms. So that was wonderful, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've kind of formed, and the community has kind of formed, different partnerships and collaborations. I know we just spoke about the events, and we've had 2 chambers in the same, like, back-to-back day after each,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So can you talk more about some of the local partnerships and collaborations, and even future plans for working with the local community?
Sure. So, this is as far as I know, this is the only veteran and Hispanic-owned co-working site in San Antonio. So, we're very interested in, of course, outreach, and so we want to partner with different minority organizations and minority development. We want a partnership with small business groups. We're very happy to look at doing any types of internships with some of the local colleges and look at mentoring. One of our goals is that for every VentureX that I open, we'll do a mentoring sponsorship with some of the underserved high schools in town or in the local area. So as we do that, we'll provide some mentoring for some of those students, and then at the end of that, be able to provide them with either scholarships or opportunities at trade school. Nice. Stipend to go to trade school and those type of things. So that's fine. We've partnered with Texas Yes, and we've helped with some of the book drives. We've done coat drives during the winter and those types of things. We raise toys over Christmas. So we are very much interested in being a place where people can come together and make our city better. So that's constantly on my mind and constantly what we're sort of focused on. And, as different nonprofits come to us and they chat about being able to partner, we're very open and we're very eager to chat with them and either give them a place to operate from or, see if we can help them some other ways. So the community side of that is just incredibly important to me. And, I don't have any children, so this is sort of my child, and we want to be a lovely young adult in the future, and hopefully we can make San Antonio a better place, and we can be a better place here as a co-working space because of San Antonio.
Very nice. And co-working spaces in general, it's not a new concept nationally. It's kind of underserved as a market in San Antonio, but in my opinion, you don't see a lot of co-working spaces based on the population size and the sheer number of businesses. But can you talk a little bit in terms of kind of the trends and changes in co-working as an industry over time, and maybe how COVID has changed some of that too?
Yeah, COVID was, it was a terrible time for so many businesses, and that really changed how business is operating. So a couple of things. Co-working started out, as sort of that executive suite type of thing. And that's been around for many, many years. Mm-hmm. From that, though, it evolved. And, there was originally it was Regis, and they had sort of, these buildings, and there'd be wood paneling and that type of thing. WeWork came along, and then they sort of opened things up. They expanded too quickly and perhaps bought too much. They had their own issues, and you guys can all watch the various movies that have been about WeWork and see where they went wrong. But one of the things that they did was they had people in sort of big glass cubes and stuff. So everything was glass. And there's a piece of that can be utilized. So one of the things that we do is all of the walls that we have that are parallel to the windows in the building, we have as glass too. So we have sliding glass doors. We don't have opening doors for most of our offices. And that's to maximize the space that you have. But also, we want that light to be able to filter in and that type of thing. However, what we did was we actually glazed that glass 5.5 feet high so that now people still have privacy in their space. And, it's privacy for their work product, privacy for themselves. Some people are a little messy and leave things on the ground. So, but you can't see that now. So we didn't want people to be in a fishbowl, and we wanted them to feel as though they can have some privacy in their office. So that was one of the things that we did. So we sort of have taken it to the third level. However, I would say also that what we find now is that recently, co-working was about 3 to 5% of the workplace. Okay, by 2030, which is now it's 2024. So TikTok, 30 to 35% of all businesses will be working out of a co-working or flexible lease space, because COVID, for all of its terrible things that it did, one of the things that it showed is that being tied down and locked into these long-term leases when you can't go to the office and you still have to make that payment was really, really painful. And so people went down to skeleton staffs, and they had all this office space that they couldn't really utilize. So we give them the opportunity to spend a lot less on that office space that they would have had. The other thing is that because we actually deliver the mail for all of our members, we will stay open because we're an essential business. So if you do need to come into the office will actually be open. God forbid we have another pandemic or something like that. Yeah. But the other thing that happened was, I think because of COVID, all of those projections were, 30, 35% by 2030. I think what we've seen now is people are aware that we're out there now, or a lot more people are aware that we're out there, and they're looking for different alternatives. They want that ability to have that flexibility to grow or to contract as they need. And the other thing is that we've got 200 offices in 8 different countries. So if you have a large business, or if you've got a business that's built around traveling to different sections or different states or different countries, then there's another place to go. And we have about 150 to 200 spaces that are currently in development outside of the ones that I want to build here in South Texas. There's almost 200 between VentureX, and we have a couple of brands that we just purchased in the last 2 years. So last year we bought another brand called Office Evolution, and so we have those offices. And then this year we bought another brand called Intelligent Office. So between the three of us, there's about 200 right now, and another 200 in development. So, and that's just this year. So we're going to see a lot more growth. When you talk to the owners of the actual buildings and people who are going to build buildings, you now find that nearly 70% of them are saying that the next building that they build, they plan to include some type of flexible lease space. So by 2040, 70% will probably be working in some type of co-working space. So I suggest come and see it now while you have a chance. So I have office space.
I think the way human nature is, and it's not meant to be individually, sequestered in your own home, working out of your home. And when people were, for 2 to 3 years, working out of their home, you saw quite a bit of issues in terms of mental wellness in the workforce, both corporate and even for small businesses. And I think this is kind of the best marriage in between, in terms of allowing a business or a corporation to to have maybe a department or two or three or their entire business in a space, but it's kind of a flexible space.
Well, and I'll touch on this for just a second, is that, working from home gives, a lot of people want to be able to work from home on the occasion and that type of thing. And it's convenient for them and they enjoy doing it. The other thing was they didn't want to have to go downtown or they didn't want to have to drive across town to their business and that type of thing. The idea with flexible lease space, co-working, is that, hey, we're in the suburbs. It's like we're closer to your home. Mm-hmm. So that makes the commute a lot easier. And that's one of the keys. And that's why we want to build more of them in San Antonio, is that, hey, we have people on the north side that want to be able to go to a space on the north side or the west side or wherever it might be. And we want to be able to accommodate those people. So that's one thing. But you do touch upon the thing that, unfortunately, one of the things that our HR professionals and people who work with people with mental illness are finding is that, unfortunately, people working from home by themselves, oftentimes, we have they're getting 3 times the calls to suicide prevention hotlines that they were previously. And HR managers are getting 3 times the number of calls for them for a lot of large companies have EAS plans or, those type of emergency service plans and things like that, where people can go and get different types of services, health services, and those type of things. And those have increased, a huge amount, during COVID and during the period where people are working from home. So it is important for people to have that communication with other people and that type of thing. So, some people can work at home and it's great for them. Other people, they just find that, hey, it becomes more challenging, and you do want to have that human interaction. You want to have those other adults that you're chatting with on a daily basis, even if it's just a quick hi in the hallway and stuff.
And that kind of speaks to work-life balance, not in the traditional sense of thinking home versus work as this place away from home, but in terms of the social aspect of things. But so in terms of work-life balance, how does this VentureX location kind of facilitate that healthy work-life balance and focus on wellness for its members and that sort of thing?
Well, wellness was one of the things that I was very interested in. And, particularly with small business, it's really challenging to have those opportunities. So one of the things that we do is we can hook somebody up with, we have a PEO, professional employment organization, that we work with that provides a full set of benefits. So we can turn people on, and most people who have really small businesses have a very challenging time trying to find health benefits for their members or the full suite of businesses, whether it be a 401k or all of those different types of things. So what we were able to do is convince these people that not only do we just have our own small group of my staff, but all of us could be looked at in aggregate and stuff. So in terms of that, instead of having a 3 or 4 person business that somebody might have that starts here, if they wish, they can come in and work with us, and they will aggregate that and say, well, gosh, you have 400 or 500 or 600 or 700 members. And as we have more and more of those places, thousands and thousands of places. So you essentially are able to get group rates at much more favorable rates than you would be. And of course, we also look at, what types of things can we do on site to make it more of a reasonable place. We have an on-site gym. So, and it's not one of these little teeny gyms that you find in some hotels. It's actually a quite good-sized gym with very, very modern equipment, high-end equipment that's in there. We have a person who works here as a fitness specialist and very high-end fitness guru, if you will. We have nutritionists who are here. We toured another nutritionist just yesterday. We have a psychologist that offices here. I mentioned it earlier in terms of some of the amenities. We have a massage chair. We have a massage studio. And, quite frankly, we're just happy to say hi to you when you walk in the in the door every morning and make you feel welcome because we're really happy that you're here. Stuff. So I think it's very important for us that you have a place that you can feel as though, yes, I can have some respite here in the workplace as well.
Yeah, and we kind of spoke on it, but the art, creativity, it's all kind of baked into the design that you've got in the space. The moment you come off the elevator, yes, you get the 360 kind of panoramic views from downtown San Antonio all the way to Texas Hill Country, but in the space itself, it's kind of a work of art. What kind of inspired the art and design that's in the space?
I'd had the fortune of being out in the Silicon Valley. I'd been to the Googleplex. I'd been to Intuit Space out in Silicon Valley. I'd seen some of the designs that people had out there, and there was nothing as modern or unique as some of that here in San Antonio. So we did want to sort of bring a little taste of that, but not go too far.
Yeah.
We wanted to make it tasteful, but we did want to have sort of a high-tech, almost industrial look, if you will, as you do that. And one of the things that we looked at, though, was how can we make that very, very comforting and stuff as well. So that was sort of the idea of then mixing, that with, actual leather, actual fabric chairs, actual rugs, real plants that are not just a couple, but we have, there's a lot of plants in the place and stuff sort of running around. And we, they're moving around. We bring in fresh flowers. We try to do things that make the place feel more alive for our members. And of course, we're constantly filtering the air and doing those types of things as well. So, I think it adds to the ambiance and stuff, but we did want to have a particular look. We wanted to have a very clean, modern look where you come in and you go, yeah, I feel like I want to go there and stuff. So hopefully everybody finds it welcoming.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the experience we've had so far with all of our guests.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Well, and you've had probably, in the last, 6 months, almost 400 people come through just to come into the podcast room. So
at least, we've had quite a bit of folks who've come through and quite a bit who've become members because, otherwise they may not have known what co-working was.
Right.
So that's been really cool to see that transformation too.
Yes. Thank you.
So let's talk, learning and development. I know you've been a mentor for me as a small business owner, fellow veteran as well. But for everybody else, I see that you're out there, but there's quite a bit of opportunities in this space in terms of professional development and growth as a business. Can you speak on some of that?
Part of that is grown very organically. We've had a number of members who are just very giving and forthcoming. We have a number of business coaches and mentors that are in the space, so that's been great. We have a number of attorneys that are in the space. We have bookkeeping and CPA people that are in the space. I think the lawyers cover, I forget how many different sectors of the law that they cover that we have here and stuff. And we have had people that are, experienced in terms of having a business for a long time. You mentioned Edward earlier, and I think he's had his business for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I've had a succession of different businesses, that type of thing. I've worked in corporate America. I've, worked for the government, but I've had a number of my own businesses, and had one that was acquired, had sold to partners, sold another business. So I'm always here and very, very happy to chat about, different types of things that you can use as leverage, and how do you get in front of, Fortune 500 companies? Because I've done that. I've had to do that as a small business. And, I've had the privilege of working and serving, companies like GE and Intuit and Chase and Sony and AMD and Dell, and doing that as a very small business and being able to grow a business. So, I've done a lot of those things already, and if that dies with me, then that's kind of a waste. So anything I can do to watch somebody grow their business, I'm very happy to help with that.
Yeah, and so I know we'll be, some of the SA Cowork or the San Antonio Coworking community is kind of coming together. And without giving away too much of it, I know we're planning on a workshop in the space probably later in the year. Can you speak on kind of the different facets that might be covered in that type of workshop and the target audience?
Sure. So, and you mentioned SA Cowork a little bit earlier, and I really didn't touch on that very much. So I'll just touch on that real quickly. So obviously, we've got VentureX, and that's our space. But we also created SA Cowork, and the idea was that we could create a community about people who are in co-working, whether you're at our space or whether you're in a different space. But if you just want to learn more about co-working, or you were trying to find that leverage and that type of thing, and eventually we'll have more and more networking opportunities for people in those spaces so that they can all sort of get together and we can all help each other. But the whole idea was that we could find a place where we could sort of raise the tide and help all of these small businesses have a place where they can sort of grow their business more and more. So that's sort of the community aspect that we're trying to look at in terms of here in San Antonio. And of course, as we grow across Central Texas, we'll be able to do that. One of the things that we are looking at right now that we want to be able to give back is we're creating a lesson plan and a 3-day cohort that we would like to be able to bring in small business, new businesses, those people that are there from, basically, hey, I just got my letter from the state that I can go into business or my EIN, to people that have been around for a year. And we want to be able to give you an idea of, how do you actually form a business plan? What's a pro forma? What do you do in terms of, we used the PEO earlier, a professional employment organization. What do we do to hire people? Well, that's very scary. How do I pay those people? How do I make sure I've done all the filings that I need to do and those types of things so people don't close me down? There's a whole host of things that go into a business. And a lot of times people go into business because, hey, I'm really good at this thing. So you might find a chef, for example, who says, hey, I'm a great chef, and I've got these great recipes and I have these great ideas, and they'll open a restaurant. Okay, super. Hey, we have somebody that, is working in plumbing, and he goes, I'm a great plumber, and I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to work for myself now, and they go into that. Whatever it might be, oftentimes we find people who have expertise in a particular area. That's how they start the business. So the nice thing is that they have the idea of what they're doing covered, but they don't necessarily have all of those peripheral things covered about how do I actually make that happen? How do I do sales? How do I do marketing? How do I do networking? What's that SEO stuff that I keep hearing about? So all of those things that go around the business, we want to give you a framework where you can take that framework and then build out all of those things that you need so that you can actually do your business. And that's sort of what we do here as co-working itself as well, is that, hey, I've tried to find a lot of those things for you and provide you with some of that leverage, particularly in your office space, and try to make that, cost effective for you. But I think as a small businessman, you've always got to look at leverage. You've always got to look at how can I get the biggest bang for my buck? And a lot of us, we have limited dollars. It's like, I've got to get the most out of this dollar that I possibly can. And it's like, I don't mind spending the money that I need to, but I sure as heck can't waste any money.
Yeah.
And that's what kills people all the time.
Absolutely. Left and right. A lot of small businesses do not make it past a certain point.
Yeah. I think it's 95% in the first 5 years fail.
Crazy.
And there's a whole host of reasons for that. And so what we want to do here is remove those obstacles. So that's what we do in co-working and in our business, and that's what we want to do in this cohort, is provide that framework so that small businesses and people that are young entrepreneurs can find out ways to avoid all of those pitfalls and traps.
Absolutely, yeah. So on that, advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, people who are just starting out.
Wow, that's great.
A lot to unpack. Yeah, sorry.
That's that's about a series of podcasts for the next year. There's a couple of things that I would say to you. One, if you're interested in it, then do it. It's a great way to be your own person, I would tell you that the best bet that anybody can ever make is to bet on themselves. Okay? Because you're the only one who knows how hard you want to work, who can outwork the person next to you, who can outwork that other company, that can come up with those unique ideas. You're a unique individual, and you've got value that you can bring. But that's the first thing. The second thing I would ask you to do is to find a need someplace and say, hey, here's a need. Here's a place that obviously needs a solution, and develop a good solution. The other thing that I would say that a lot of people don't really think about is take a second to sit back and think about yourself and think about what qualities do I have? What virtues do I have? What blessings do you have in your life? Are you good at math? Are you good? I look at myself. I did this for myself, and one of the things that I realized that I'm very good at is I'm pretty quick at looking at a problem from different angles. And I don't know if that's because my spatial orientation is really, really great. I'm off the charts in terms of spatial orientation. So that's just one of the things that helped me fly jets and be inverted and upside down and backwards and those type of things. But it also gives me the opportunity to look at a problem from different angles, and I'm able to sort of assess that relatively quickly. Well, that was something that I've been able to use in different scenarios, but it's not something you would typically think, wow, that's a business check mark and stuff. And it can be down to the fact that, what types of things can you do? Well, I don't know. My lungs are oversized. Well, that's probably too much information for everybody, but it means I have great endurance for things. So I'm able to sort of grind things out, and I've been able to do that. And that's been, some of the things that I've used for success. But I think everybody has those qualities of whether it be physical, mental, emotional, psychological, whatever it might be, that you need to assess and say, what are those things that I can really do well, whatever it might be, and then say, now, how can I actually apply that to helping that solution and apply that to this new business?
Supply and demand.
Yeah. So those are a couple things that I would say.
Very nice. Yeah. Awesome answer.
Thank you. Probably not what people were expecting.
Yeah. So I think, we covered quite a bit of ground on this.
We really did.
There's a lot to unpack still.
Yeah.
Because, you could, as you said, you could go for a full week with a cohort on any one of these topics and teach quite a bit.
Yeah. And there's always a story.
Yeah.
There's always a story.
So we'll definitely follow up and provide another episode if we put this in episode format.
Absolutely.
And get more information out there for folks.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and it's always great to come in here and be able to see you guys, and it's always fun to be able to chat a little bit.